Hello, so welcome to another reading vlog. To be honest, my last vlog went over and it's already Thursday and I don't really know what I'm doing with my reading. Mostly, I need to catch up with some audiobooks which are going to return themselves to the library soon. So, firstly, I've got White Knight, I think is the 9th book in the Harry Dresden files. So, Harry Dresden is this wizard and he's also a private investigator, helps out with the police. He's now also involved with the White Council, who he doesn't always get along with. The White Council is at war with the vampires and there's a bunch of other stuff. The main thing probably from this book is he's just taken on this new teenage apprentice, and I said in the last book that I was concerned about him taking on this teenage apprentice, and it hasn't been too bad. However, not only is Harry sometimes noticing, well, actually Harry's been pretty good in this book, but other people that Harry works with have been like, whoa, a teenage girl. I don't want it. I know probably it's very realistic for guys to be like, oh, a teenage girl is showing a bit of her breasts. I don't want to read it. I don't care if it's realistic. I don't want to know that men are like that. Okay, just stop it. I don't know. Just don't be like that. That's what I want. So it's very annoying, and I always knew that part was going to be annoying. But otherwise, he's kind of just investigating these murders that have been made to look like suicides, but probably magical murders. And it seems like it's all kind of connected to him personally. Some people have been suspecting that he's actually the murderer. So in some ways he's also trying to prove that he's innocent, but as well he did do a little speech about like it's especially bad when women are being hurt, which I never appreciate those speeches either. So I guess I'm not minding this one. The investigation is okay, but I'm only about a third of the way in, so we'll see how we go. There has been a character from some previous books that's come in, and I'm kind of hoping that she will add in some drama, as well as another character that Harry is quite good friends with is potentially up to no good. I'm hoping to find out in this book what he's actually up to, because in the last one we were just wondering, but I really want to know. The other audiobook that I read is also kind of a paranormal investigation, urban fantasy type book. So I've got Wildfire by Ilona. This is the 3rd book in the Hidden Legacy series. So it's the last book in Nevada's trilogy, and then there's a whole nother trilogy following the second sister in the family. So this is a family that runs an investigation company in this world where magic is genetic, and there's these particular families that are very psychically powerful, as well as being quite politically powerful as a result. And throughout the first 2 books, Nevada has been pulled into helping out on investigations that involve these big and powerful families, which has kind of put her family in a precarious position. So I'm interested to see how things are going to get to where I know they need to be, because I've actually read the novella that comes after this trilogy, and so I know one pair of characters are going to get married, and also this family is going to be attempting to become one of these powerful houses. So I'm excited for that. I really love Ilona writing style. I'd kind of say there's a lot of action, even though I don't normally like action-focused stories, but it's more just that you've always got a direction that you're going in. You're following along in this investigation, and there's also quite a lot of emotional stuff involved as well. So we'll read that. I don't know. I'm going to try and go for a bunch of walks. It's been raining all the time lately. Right now it's sunny, but can you trust it? Is it about to rain? I don't know, but it's sunny, so I might take my chances. And I guess over the next few days, I'll try and do a bunch of walking. I was sick last week, last week. So I haven't been doing as much walking, and I miss it, and I need to get my fitness back after being sick. So I'm going to try and go for a bunch of walks, which will be perfect for getting through these audiobooks before they return themselves to the library. I have some other ones if we get time. The other thing I'm reading, so physical books. I actually read last night some of this book. I said I wasn't going to talk about this book until I actually made some progress on it, because I have been reading this book for a couple of months now, and I'd only read 15 pages, and every vlog I would hold it up and be like, I'm going to read this book, and I didn't. But I haven't got any other books that I'm looking at the moment. I actually got through a lot of my TBR, physical TBR, in the last couple of weeks. I've got one more book, but I'm going to put this one first, and we're going to see how much I can get through of this by the end of the week, and then we'll decide if we're going to continue with it or pick up the other book. So the main thing that's happening in this at the moment is that, trying to think about what I can say without spoiling it, someone in a lot of power has been possessed by something, that the kind of the bad people in the story are taking advantage of to get what they want, and all these other people are trying to come together to work out what they're going to do about it. I also think this must be a fair amount after the first book, because one of our characters was saying, you know, it took her like 2 years to travel from where this person is to where the people who can help is, because she got stuck in the mountain ranges where it was snowing. So like we're dealing with quite a big area, and it is interesting to think about how back in the day when you were trying to be at war, how hard it would be to travel, whereas these days having war with people on the other side of the world has become much easier. I don't think that's a good thing. But anyway, I'm going to do my best to continue reading this over the next few days. I don't know what else is happening. It really does depend on the weather, but we will see how we go. Okay, I don't know how I was mounting this camera here the other day. I'm not like this, and the lighting was different because it's still daytime. But so far I've been feeling pretty lazy today. I think actually I'm about to go out and go for a walk because I was very tempted to have a nap, but I think going for a walk is actually more what I need. And while I'm on my walk, I'll continue Harry Dresden. It's this one called White Knight. So last night I did manage to get, I think, about 2/3 of the way through. And at this point, they've pretty much solved the mystery. Like, they know who's responsible. And they've kind of stopped things for now. But there's a risk of, like, worse things happening. So Harry's got some kind of plan to try and stop more things from happening. It's actually interesting because this is maybe one of the first times where Harry's been properly proactive in the bigger conflict. Even though I guess he's still kind of being reactive, but more proactive than I would say he's been any other time. But I would say as well, I think this particular book is probably more action than some of the others, but the action has been kind of interwoven with the investigation. It's always the investigation that I like more than the action. As well, we are getting quite a few of the like older characters that Harry has history with, coming in and being a part of this drama that's going on. So I think I'm enjoying it okay. Like, not my favorite, but it's okay. And Mouse the dog is getting to play a significant role, so I mean, that's the best part, really. Oh, but while we're talking about dogs, the other thing I did read today is I picked up this Babysitter's Club graphic novel adaptation. I've got this one, which is number 10, and I've got number 11 too. Actually in a hardback. I'm pretty sure that the other ones I got from the library were paperbacks, but I think they've been so popular, my library must have gone to hardbacks, or maybe the publisher changed something. I don't know. But anyway, I read this one. This is the one where it's called Kristy and the Snobs, but all I remember of reading the original when I was younger is that this is the one where Kristy's dog dies. This one, Louis. And every time I've read it, even when reading it as an adult and knowing that that's what's going to happen, it made me cry. And going into this one, I thought probably it's going to make me cry. But then it kind of really focused a lot more on like the babysitting and like this conflict with the snobby people in Kristy's neighborhood, and less on Louis actually being sick. Which I don't think it was that great, because it just seemed then like they were randomly like, well, he's not getting any better, let's put him down. And I was like, but he doesn't even seem that sick in this. But anyway, they had the funeral and I bawled my eyes out. So I just don't think I can read about that kind of thing without crying. Even though I don't even think the story was told that well. I think it's just the idea makes me cry. So this probably wasn't my favorite adaptation, but it could be that I'm misremembering how things go down in the original as well. And I thought about rereading it because I do just have it in the other room, but we're not going to do that. We're not going to fall down a Babysitter's Club hole yet. Not today. So I guess that's all, and I will go and be good and have that walk. Good morning. So I've lost the attachment to my camera tripod, so at the moment you're very precarious again. Let's hope you don't fall over. But I wanted to update you. Last night I went for a walk. It did rain on me a little bit, but I managed to finish off White Knight. I would say like the last third there was quite a lot of action, and I've said before, like when it's just purely action, I do sometimes get a bit bored, and I find like when there's reveals in the middle of a whole bunch of action, it often doesn't feel as impactful for me, because then it just moves on with the action and I'm like, oh, I guess that didn't matter then, since like it was over so quickly. But I guess there were a few interesting things that happened in amongst the action, and I liked some of the stuff that Harry set up in the end. I don't think the action is necessarily badly written, it's just not for me. Anyway, I finished that, and then I started Wildfire, and just straight away I was so much more in love with that story. I just think Ilona Andrews has like a sense of humor that I really like. Like straight away, I was laughing out loud in some bits, but at the same time, like the first chapter is setting up, they've got a new customer whose husband is missing, and like it properly addresses the emotions of that and makes this woman who's missing her husband like a fully complex character. We also got the magic being used very well straight away. And we've also got the family dealing with this idea that maybe they're going to become one of these powerful houses, which brings with it like a lot of risk, but also their only real chance of protecting themselves at this point. So I really like the setup. I don't think I got very far through it. Let me just double check. 10%. So I've just kind of begun that. I will, I think, continue that today when I'm out and about. Last night I was going to read some of my physical books, but then I also thought I'd just check out First Kill, which is this vampire love story Netflix show inspired by a short story by Victoria Schwab. Now, I haven't read the short story, but I thought I'd check it out. And I actually quite like it. It's kind of like Romeo and Juliet, except that one side is this family of vampires and the other side is this family of vampire hunters. And you've got these two girls that have fallen in love, but their families are at war. I actually really like the family dynamics, and I think the relationship between the two mothers is one that could be really interesting. Also, the vampire's brother has like a relationship with a witch, and we only got a first taste of that in the first 4 episodes, which is what I ended up watching. I was only going to watch 1, but I watched 4, so it must be good. And I'm definitely interested to see more of Oliver's witchy girlfriend. But overall, I think it's a lot of fun, and I just like it's got that Moorish quality where every time I would finish an episode, I'd be like, wow, I need to know what happens next. So I kept watching. But probably I'll stop watching that for a little while. Actually, the other thing, so I'm going to go around to Jason's now. The thing we are watching together is Dark, which is like this German time travel, twisty, dark TV show. It's one where you really need to pay attention. We find every time like a character will come on screen, we'll be like saying everything we know about them just to like get the context into our heads, because you're basically following things across 3 timelines, and you've got characters who are sometimes at all 3 timelines. So the people who are young kids in 1953 are like adults in 1986, and then they're like the grandparents in 2019. So you've got all these different characters across different ages, and they've all got different connections between their different families and friendships. Then as well, you've got the time travel aspect. So there's like some weird stuff going on there as well. So there's connections in that way as well. It's very complex, but I'm super excited. We just started season 2, and there's been some more timelines introduced. So it's going to be even more brain taxing, I'm sure, but I am excited to continue that as well. So those are kind of the 2 TV shows I'm loving at the moment. Not books, but still good stories. So right now, as I said, I'm going to go around to Jason's, but actually just down the road from his house today, there is a $1 book sale. So I'm going to stop in there. I'm not sure if we'll end up getting anything. This particular book sale is one they do regularly, and I often find like it's a lot of old people books is my best way of describing it. Like books that the old people who go to this book sale are very excited to pick up, but I'm like not interested at all. But sometimes I've gone and found some gems, so we'll see what we can find. And since it is really rainy, I'll probably take this to Jason's whether I read it or not. Depends on what we decide to do. But anyway, let's go to a book sale and see if we can find anything good. Hello, so another dodgy camera setup because I forgot to bring my vlogging camera, so I'll probably not be looking at the camera most of the time because that's what I always struggle with on the iPhone. But I'll try my best. So I went to the book sale as expected. There were a lot of old people books and also a lot of old people, and they're kind of annoying me, like always in the way and going really slowly. But I tried to just, tiptoe around the edges and not get too annoyed at them being slow, because I'm sure I'll be like that when I'm old too. But it also just kind of seemed like they didn't care if they were in the way. Maybe that's what I want to be like when I'm old as well. Anyway, I did get a couple of books. Technically, I've read both of these, but I thought I would get them anyway because they are ones that I really liked back a long time ago, and at some point I'd like to reread them. So firstly, I got The Crystal Singer by Anne McCaffrey. So this is the first book in a series. I actually don't remember. I know I have some books from this series. I don't remember if I have this one, but I think if I do, that I have like a crappier version, or at least the front is crappier. The back of this is a little bit fucked, but
I think maybe it would be not too bad to repair it. Maybe I could do that. Plus it's the back, so who cares? So I got it anyway. It's only $1, so who cares? The other one I got is book 4 in the Chesuli Chronicles by Jennifer Roberson. So I think Jennifer Roberson wrote the Tiger and Dell series, which I think I read some of since I've been on BookTube. But she also wrote the Chesuli Chronicles, which I read years and years ago. I don't actually remember how many books there are. I feel like either 4 or 7 or 8. But basically it kind of follows these different generations of this family that eventually pair up. It's kind of like, I think there's like a prophecy that when these families create a person between the two of them, something will happen. I don't remember the details. I think it's kind of fantasy romance, which isn't my thing anymore, but at one point I really love this series and I like made my way through it all excited, so I would like to reread it at some point and see how I like it. I'm not sure that this is the exact editions I would prefer to own, but it was there, $1, so I got it just for fun. It's one of these really old editions, so you know, it's kind of fun just to have as like an antique almost. I have never seen these editions before, so I think probably the likelihood of me coming across any of the other books in the series in this edition is pretty unlikely, but you never know. Anyway, I'm now running super late because traffic here was the worst and it took me forever to find a car park on this random side street down the road. So I better get going.
Hello, so I'm here again with another dodgy camera setup. I really need to find that attachment, but I don't know where it is. Anyway, kind of was feeling crappy for the last day because it's that time of the month and I tend to have one crappy day, but I think I'm almost human again. We'll see how long it lasts this time. So I haven't really done much over the last day, or I definitely haven't done much since I got back from Jason's. However, we did watch, I think we're up to episode 5, 6 of the second season of Dark. Honestly, if you like twisty time travel stuff, you really need to check out that show. I love it so much. I have so many theories about what's going on, and it's just so much fun to like try and figure out what's going on and like try and keep track of all the different connections to all the different characters. The other thing that I did when I got home is I watched the rest of First Kill, and I do think the end got a little bit messy. It did some interesting things, but it was just all a bit all over the place. And I'm not sure that it's very consistent with like its values with regards to whether like it's okay to murder people, because some people don't seem to be being called out in the same way as others for having killed people. But it was okay. If there's a second season, I will probably watch it because it's an interesting dynamic between these two families. I especially love the mothers. I want the mothers to have more conflict and more dealings with each other. Actually, I think I want the mothers to become best friends in the end. But we'll see. Reading wise, I did read Goodbye Stacy Goodbye. It was a good little adaptation of the original. I feel like it felt a little bit longer than some of the other graphic novel adaptations, but I don't know if that's just in my head. Probably. The other book I have here is this one. I didn't read much of this week. I started out really strong reading some of it. I've read like 100 pages, 110. Oh, I think I was on page 15. So maybe like 100 pages. And that's pretty good progress for this. I don't know if I'm going to try and read some more tonight, tomorrow. We'll see. It is kind of interesting, although it's mainly this army, like following along with different characters who are in this army or traveling with this army as they go somewhere where it's going to take them a really long time to get, and they're like trying to gain support of the people as they go along this trip. So there's some interesting things going on, but I really just want them to get where they're going. And I don't know how many hundreds of pages we're going to have to get through before we get to where they're going. As well, I'm really waiting for some more of Leath or Elaine's perspectives, because I'm sure those are really the main characters. And where are they in this book? Nowhere yet. And especially given what happened in the last book, I'm not even sure where they are, so I would really like to know. As well, one other thing. Too many things at the moment. That's probably what I'm doing wrong, why I feel like a mess. But I've also been listening to Wildfire. I think I'm about 66% of the way through, and I am really liking it. It's quite a good mystery, which is kind of involved with this whole conspiracy that some of these powerful magical families are engaging in. So she's having to deal with that, as well as trying to become a house, a powerful family of their own, and there's a bunch of people trying to stop her family from getting to that. But we haven't gotten to the point where they're going to do their trials to prove that they're powerful enough, and that's the bit that was described in the novella that I read that comes after Wildfire, and I'm quite interested to like read it properly, because in the novella it's just kind of mentioned vaguely, and I'd quite like the proper description of it, so I'm excited to get to that bit, but I'm not sure when we're going to get there. I would also say in this book there is quite a lot of action, and every now and then I do start to tune out in the same way that I do with Harry Dresden, but like much less than I do with Harry Dresden, and I think it's because the action is usually less or like more interspersed with like investigation and emotional aspects of the story. Plus probably just that I like the sense of humour better. Anyway, I am now going to tidy up my house a little bit before bed, and while I do that, I'll see if I can finish off Wildfire, and then I'll check in with you again, probably tomorrow. Hello, so I finally found my tripod attachment, so you are not in a dodgy position. It was really easy to find. It was almost right in front of me every time I complained I couldn't find it. But reading wise, I did last night manage to finish off Wildfire. I really liked it. I will say that there's quite a lot going on, and I kind of wish this was a longer series because I would love to get more of Nevada. And I know there are more books following Catalina, but I feel like that's going to be almost a completely separate story, and I would love to get more of Nevada and her love interest. And I just think one of the things I really loved about the Kate Daniels series by Ilona Andrews is that that is like quite a slow burn romance. Like it's a 10-book series, and I think it takes a while for them to actually get together, and then even then like they have problems with their relationship that they work through before they finally like get married or whatever. Whereas in Nevada's trilogy in the Hidden Legacy series, it's only 3 books and then they're getting married, and it just feels a little bit quick to me. And I think I prefer slow burn romances when I like romance. Mostly I don't like it, but I think the way Ilona Andrews does it, not too bad, not too bad. And I think for me, like these books have like maybe 1 or 2 sex scenes, and they're like not too much, and that's probably about the right amount for me. But I think based on the covers, some people will go into these books and be disappointed. But I really like the story. I think the world's really interesting, and I would love to get more in this world, but I have to keep reminding myself there is more in this world. So I will get what I want. But I was thinking to wait to read the second trilogy until like August, when the final book in that trilogy comes out. Also, it's looking very possible that I might be working from next week, in which case I'm going to have a lot less time for reading. But we'll see, we'll see. It's not for sure yet. But I haven't read anything else, and I do think I'm going to wrap this vlog up here now because I've got a whole nother reading project for my next vlog, continuing series. But for this one, I think we're done. It's probably a shorter one, but that'll make up for my super long one that I did the week before. And I definitely would recommend the Hidden Legacy series. I don't know if I can recommend the Dresden Files yet, but we will continue with that series and see if at some point we get to a point where we'd be confident recommending it. But anyway, do let me know if you've read any of these books, what you thought about them. I would love to talk with you about that down in the comments. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you are doing well, and I will see you next time.